You are watching a master at work.
Hey, 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 hey. Welcome. Yes, sir. Here we are. Man, that intro gets me so hyped every time. Thank you. Oh, man. Actually, I want to start today's show by shouting out my man Marvin from Bravely Studio here in Clifton, New Jersey. Bravery up. Yo, we want to give him a shout out and want to thank him. If you got a podcast and you want to get it out there, you got to come over here and holler at my man Marvin from Bravery Studios in Clifton, New Jersey. Great guy, professional service, just really, really good people. So shout out. Let me get a hand clap for Bravery. Bravery up. I like that. See, I got to get one of them. I need that. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Hidden Figures, Behind the Numbers with the Restaurant Scientist. My name is Jason Wallace, and I want to start also by thanking my sponsors, because without my sponsors, none of this gets paid for. I want to thank Cornerstone Business Labs, Cornerstone Production, and Cornerstone Media. Give them a shout out. Thank you very much for your support. And hopefully they will continue to fund this show going into 2021. So without any further ado, today's episode, I want to introduce a friend, a colleague, and a mentor. He's kind of a mentor to me. He doesn't know this, but I admire his tenacity, particularly when it comes to health and wellness and his ability to cook. It's been a problem, and it's going to continue to be an issue that we need to address within the Black community in terms of health and wellness. And Chef Kenny Minor and Kenny Minor's brand is doing that. So I want to welcome Chef Kenny Minor to the show.
Hey, Jason. Hey, everybody.
It's always a pleasure to see you. Let me just tell you, Kenny's also a talented singer, and hopefully he'll bless us with with some of his vocals today. I forgot about that. Oh my goodness. Maybe we need to pull up a track or something for him to sing over top of. But this guy, when I say this brother can sing, like he can sing, like he got pipes, like real.
I appreciate that.
What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? Good morning to you, to everybody who's listening.
Well, thank you for coming on my show. I know you're a very busy man. I see you all over Facebook and Instagram and New York. You know, we run into each other quite often in New York City. So I know you're a very busy gentleman. So again, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show.
Yeah.
So tell my listeners a little bit about yourself, you know, where you come from, who is Chef Kenny Minor?
Who is Chef Kenny Minor? Thanks for letting me be on here again. I'm a chef originally from Washington, D.C. Grew up, and I've been in New York for 17 years. Grew up in a big Southern church family where food is how we celebrated love, is how we got together, is how we connected. And so my grandmother set me down at 6 years old with a brown paper bag and said, break up this bread, boy, if you're going to be in this kitchen. And I broke up the bread that later went on in the turkey, for the turkey dressing, for celery dressing. Yeah. And it was the first time my hands touched the ingredients. And then later, Jason, seeing those ingredients bring people together, like my uncles and my aunts in good time. And I think food made its impression on me right then and there. All that good Southern food, it's all good, but I also gained like 85 pounds eating that food.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Because it's good and it's soulful and I can cook it.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the food you want to look to feed you for your life. And so I had to forge my own relationship with food. And New York was a big part of that. Coming here, taking in the culinary scene, seeing where my place in it as a Black man fit, and then carving my way out of that and then losing the weight. And I've kept the weight off about 15 years now.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. So talk to me about the culinary journey. How did that start? We met at culinary while you was at culinary school, correct?
Yeah, you can go ahead and chime that in. Let me just go ahead and put it out there. Jason was my teacher. What did you teach me, Jason? You taught me at culinary school, the Art Institute. You taught me design and layout,
Yeah.
and you taught me restaurant management. I believe those are the two courses.
Yeah. Okay.
And going back to you, something that I stopped doing a little while ago, but I believe success drops clues.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched you come into the classroom. You will have your restaurant industry magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked over to you in between class, and I was like, "What is this magazine?" He was like, "Oh, this is a restaurant. This is a magazine that lays out what all Darden restaurants, all the guys are doing, what the latest trends are, da da da." And I subscribed to that magazine that same day. So I want to thank you for that, because that was the spark.
Wow.
Beyond what you were teaching us in the class, that I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch what this guy's doing, because he seems to know what he's doing.
I thank you. I taught for so long. I've been in education for now 17 years.
Great teacher.
I taught at the Art Institute, which was originally the New York Restaurant School, for 13 of those years. Mm-hmm. So, I've always been about economics. You know what I mean? That's really when I came out of the Culinary Institute of America, went to France, did that whole apprenticeship in France, came back to the United States thing. Then I got woken up to, okay, your food could be really good. If it's not profitable, it doesn't matter.
There you go.
So
I think you even said that in class, to be honest.
So, for me, it turned to, okay, there's a lot of chefs out here, a lot of brothers cooking. And I've always had that entrepreneur fire burning in my belly. So for me, then I always wanted to bring that into the classroom, and it's still a part of my fiber, my brand today, because at the end of the day, it's about economics in America. And, really, how do you build wealth? So going back to your situation in culinary school, well, tell me about that journey after you got out of school. What was your vision and your plan? I know at one point we had even talked about, like, I was going to manage you, and, that timing just didn't work for either of us. Right. But, let's talk about, like, what was your journey, and give me a time frame. What was it? Like early 2000s?
Yeah, early 2000s. We're talking like 2008. I graduated in 2008. Yeah. Okay. So I got a culinary degree. I have a bachelor's in culinary management, and then I have an associate's in culinary arts. So that was very important to me to get not only, I think I've met a lot of great chefs out there who can cook. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But that paper makes a difference. That education makes a difference. It puts you in different rooms. To keep it 100, it got me to you. And thus, we've worked on other projects to you. So I don't ever, if anybody's out there who's thinking about going to culinary school, if it's worth it, I promise you it is. It is worth it. And so I found that out in real time. My past history, I was a patient accounts manager over a neurology practice in Washington, D.C. for a larger neurology practice. So at 28, I'm managing 200 people, a call center. I'm managing doctors credentialing. I'm managing hospital administration contracts. So I was doing that at 28 years old. And so my shift coming over to restaurant manager, my thought was, I did a talent show because, as you say, I sing. And I've always had this idea of sort of like having what you call, like, there's a place in DC called Blues Alley, or the House of Blues, where music and food comes together. And that was the vision that I had. And I was doing a talent show, and some friends came up to me, was like, "Great show, Kenny, live show, band, the whole thing. But we waited 45 minutes for our wings." And I remember saying to myself, because I wasn't thinking about culinary school, I'll be honest with you, I was not. And then it hit me, I need to control the food. If I can't control the food, then me up on stage with all my singers and all this goodness doesn't matter. And that was the spark. I was like, all right, I'll go to culinary school and I'll manage, because those skills are saying they're transferable. So I'll just do that. And then the food bug bit me. And I was like, oh man, I wanted to cook now, but the management, that piece of it, as you said, in the sense of knowing the numbers and not just being the creative force behind your brand, right, also knowing the numbers has been, I would say, the key factor for my sustaining myself as a chef for these past 10 years.
Got you. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Numbers matter. And
numbers matter.
Numbers are the only thing that matters, which is, to show hidden figures, because, we try to attack it from resources, in terms of human resources. What number of people do you need, as well as capital and other financial resources. So now, okay, you're in New York City, you graduate from culinary school, you have your degrees. What was your vision for Ken Miner at the time? and what did reality reveal to you between your thought and the real world slapping you around a little bit?
It's a little bit, it's twofold, because I think, Jason, if I had chose a traditional path, which is go ahead, start out as a sous chef, work in a restaurant for 10, 15 years, make, sous chef and, maybe probably a managing partner, that blueprint is written out kind of in the sense if you put your time in. Some of those guys fall out of that path and wind up doing catering on the side or doing something else. For me, because and I just say this to a friend, because I'm talented at a few things,
right?
It was hard I was just allowing myself a few of those years at the culinary school just to figure out what am I good at? What is my flavor profile? What am I bringing to the market that's different? Right. Being here in New York City, you got amazing chefs, amazing restaurateurs. So you could actually kind of get lost in somebody else's path about what you should be doing for yourself. I had a moment with myself, or two moments, and we're gonna come back to this because I know where you could be going later on, which is I initially did move here to try to do the Broadway thing. I did some off-Broadway stuff, did All My Children, like the food came a little later. Okay. But doing one of my auditions, I went downstairs because we got a break between. I would always make the singing part, but the dancing part, I got 2 left feet. I could never make those auditions. I would never make that part. But I stayed, and I went downstairs, and there was a newsstand right there on 34th Street and 7, where everybody auditioned in that building. And I went downstairs to a newsstand, and I picked up Bon Appetit magazine. That was the first time I bought it. It was the restaurant issue. I still have that issue in my kitchen. And I opened it, and it was something about it that drew me to it. Yeah. I didn't know what this was. I honestly didn't know what it was, but now I know it was my calling. It was God showing me this was it. And I took this magazine. I didn't make the audition. That was for Miss Saigon. I didn't get it. Okay. But what I did grab when I went home was this magazine that I could not let go. And so what first drew me out to culinary school was my ability to food style. So I thought food styling was going to be the thing. Because I really enjoyed, like, time goes away when I'm food styling, and I'm really good at food styling. So I was like, you know what, I'll work for a couple of magazines, and I would style my own food and see where that goes. And I tried a little bit of things, did bartending, did the food styling, of course, started my own catering company in 2015, and that was profitable. But what I'm really, really good at, and this came to me during COVID, actually even before COVID, as you say, I'm good in front of the camera. Yeah. And I really didn't understand the value of that. Because I wasn't, quote unquote, getting the social media numbers that I wanted, like the other chefs were getting, and I don't compare myself. But what I was getting was constantly asked by TV shows to come on. Okay. And knew pretty quickly that all of that stage energy, all that performance energy served me well as a chef. And that was my calling, my ability to share our stories, the African Americans, my grandmother's story, our food stories, and then, hit them with the health information and putting that in an informing, entertaining kind of way is what set me apart from other chefs. And that is what I'm enjoying now. Yeah. Okay. So let me, I'm gonna go back a little bit because I want to ask you some questions. I want to ask you a question about, that food styling world. That's a world that is very open to Blacks, right? So when you were pursuing that avenue, was it just something that you didn't want to do, or is it something that you felt like really doors weren't opening for you? Talk to me a little bit about that. Good question. Well, initially, how do you get into it? Yeah. Let's just ask yourself, so I started out doing projects, friends had cookbooks that they wanted to do, and just trying to be good at my craft. You got to put, I had like 10,000 hours into something before you could really call yourself a professional. Yeah. And so I initially was just putting in that work. Right. I was putting in that work, food styling, doing my own food styling. I was doing my first website, and I was telling my buddy who was doing the site, I was like, oh, I got to get somebody to food style. He was like, why don't you do it yourself? Yeah. I don't know if you remember our cookbook from school, but it was a book called On Cooking. On Cooking. And it's on Cooking. And on the cover is a little bit of rice that looked like it was done in, a little baking thing. And there was some shrimp on top of it. And so I just recreated that.
Got you.
And when I look at that picture almost 10 years ago, you know, just like I was like, oh, okay, my ability to replicate what I see is really good. Back into the business, I had auditions or opportunities with Food and Wine. You know, I had a buddy. You got to have good friends in good places. So I had friends over at Condé Nast who, you know, got me in. But those guys, even when they walked me through the kitchen to kind of give me the tour, it was not a Black person in that room.
Yeah.
The food testers, the food stylists, the photographers, the you know, CEO, the editor who was walking me through, everybody was white. Yeah. And I quickly learned that, oh, okay, I may have to go another route, not because of the whiteness of it, but because of almost as if there's a doorkeeper, gatekeeper, and you're not really aware of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We don't even know about those jobs. We don't know what they pay. We don't know what their hours of operations are. We don't know those job descriptions. So yeah, we definitely don't know about those types of opportunities. So all right. So now you said you no longer, you're doing some food styling and you're doing some catering, and then so now take me to, you know, pre-COVID Ken Miner. Versus then segue me into COVID Ken Miner, because COVID is
it initially started.
Go ahead.
COVID has made us pivot, and COVID has been a blessing. So we'll get there in a sense, business wise. But before that, you know, it was always impressed upon me, how do we make money? How do I make money? If I'm not going to do the traditional restaurant way, how do you make money?
Right.
And I can honestly say that New York City has made me a better hustler than I thought I possibly could be. Honestly. From going from bartending. I went to bartending school, ABC bartending school. I like going to get education. You can't just read a book. I know some people do that, but I like to get educated. So I went to bartending school.
I'm the same.
And that sustained me for a while. So I'm bartending, and then those skills were the same skills that I later would charge people $250 for wine steward and for my catering. So come on here.
Right.
So it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, good return on that.
It definitely good return on investment. And so before that, so I kind of did a mix of catering and speaking things. The community work really informed, I would say, back in 2010 when I started my Eat for Life brand, where I was going out into the community and teaching people. Now, Jason, I don't know if I've even said this on air. My intention with going out into the community and teaching was not supposed to be the brand. I wanted to do fattening food and cheese and fried chicken and all of that, just like other people, because I wanted to make money as a caterer.
Right.
And I decided, you know, coming from a church world and my tie to God and to purpose, I said, all right, I'll go teach at the YMCA in Harlem, just for service. You know what I mean? Give something back to the community in which I'm living in. And I started teaching at the YMCA for about 8 weeks, teaching kids how to eat healthy, because I don't know if you know out there, if you're born after the year 2008, by the year 2030, all of those kids are going to be diabetics.
Wow.
It's not a question. It's fact.
Wow.
Yeah, and in the Black community. Wow. So those statistics, because I was one of those statistics, I was an overweight kid, you know, up until I was 28 years old. Right. And so food and that sensitivity was very important to me, and I could connect to those kids. So I initially was like, you know what, I'm just going to go out there and teach a couple of classes, do some smoothies, and do my thing. Right. And very quickly, I met this lady named Denise who had 6 kids. Okay. She was overweight. The kids were overweight. She was in my class, and I did steamed broccoli. And after it was that, Denise raised her hand and she said, "Chef, are you going to put some cheese on it?" This happened in real time. And I was like, "Hey, Denise, yes, you can put cheese, but today we just want to stick with the cooking preparation. I just want to get y'all steaming, how to cook things healthy using fresh herbs." And she let me talk a little bit more. She raised her hand again and she said, "But aren't you going to put cheese on it?" And now I'm a little irritated because now you're messing up my protein shake flow and my thing. This is me just starting out in the real world at the culinary school. Right. And then it hit me. In her world, her mother made broccoli. It had cheese on it.
Had cheese on it.
Had cheese on it.
Yeah.
That's how you make broccoli. And I learned in very real time, Jason, my heart still warms up when I talk about that, that our people who are so good and so talented and so blessed and in so many ways, our eating habits They shit. We eat like shit. Excuse
No,
me.
no,
We do.
This is it. It's not a politically correct.
Oh, I can do that shit. I can do that. All right.
It's
Chef
shit.
Kitty said shit.
Yeah, it's
It
bullshit.
tastes like shit.
Yeah, it's bullshit is what it is. And it actually starts with the shopping, you know what I mean? But I'm going to let you go. So go ahead.
You know what I mean? So I knew that. And so it really dawned on me, yes, numbers are great. Statistics are great about how we eat and telling people to eat 2 milligrams of this and drink this and everything.
Yeah.
But the way that what was facilitated in that room by the end of the 8 weeks impressed upon me was like, okay, there's something here, Kitty. There is a work to do in our community around food and nutrition.
Right. Right. And it seems like you got to peel that onion back too, because it's not just the cooking, like I say. At what point did you also start to incorporate other services, wraparound services, like, okay, grocery shopping, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Budget, you know what I mean? And how do you get access to these things if you live in a food desert, you know, when you have multiple food insecurity issues where you can't even get fresh fruits and vegetables. So
yeah, this is before your Whole Foods. This is before your push, you know, for snaps and vegetables. So so it's a lot. You're right.
Yeah,
you're totally right.
Yeah. So wow. So you learn that in real time. So now you're figuring out how to basically educate people from different ways and in different fashions. So then what was next?
What was next was, okay, now how do we make money from this?
Yeah. That's Jason Wallace class again.
No, because what I realized is that there is money out there. You got some large programs here in New York.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I started working for insurance companies. I did for stuff with Blue Cross Blue Shield. And actually a full circle moment having come from that insurance world and now rolling that into the food, because these organizations, Emblem Health was my biggest client. You know, so throughout their whole Emblem Health community care program, throughout New York, Brooklyn, Harlem, and even Queens and beyond, I did my Eat for Life seminars through their program. And I taught there. And I was so proud of that. And it was the need, because for those 3 years I was there, my classes were the highest attended classes. There was waiting lists for my class. And they had never seen that before. Gotcha. So much so that the mayor's wife, and the mayor's wife at the time, it was an African-American guy, I forget his name, but his wife, who was on the board of Emblem Health, came down. Some people from headquarters came down because they wanted to see what I was doing that was making people want to sign up for a sign-up list. And so then it kind of dawned on me like, okay, this is a business model. This is a business model in the sense of how I pull the stories together. I do my own information. I put it down in a way that these worksheets, about basically at the core of my brand, Jason, is about belief. Yeah. What do you believe is possible? Beyond all of the stuff about, you know, drinking protein shakes, exercising for 4 days a week for 30 to 90 minutes a day, and all of that good advice about cooking, at the core of it, what I found is that people don't have a core belief system about food.
Wow. That's pretty deep.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, they don't have a core belief about food. We got one about church. You can tell me your pastor's favorite saying. You can tell me what the church motto is. You can tell me what the core belief is at your job and what's expected of you as a supervisor job. But when I ask you about what do you believe about food, crickets. Yeah. Crickets.
No, absolutely.
You know, and that's universal. That's not just Black people. That's universal. Wow. So there you go, trying to be in a process where you're trying to fight and lose weight against an enemy that you haven't even defined.
Wow. Yeah, you got to identify the problem before you can solve the problem.
Hello. And this is why so many diets, especially in African-American community, fail within, you know, New Year's is coming up. And so most people fail within the first 23 days. Right. And I would attest that to, yes, it's hard. Eating hard during COVID right now is hard because we're so close proximity to the refrigerator. You know, kids are at home. Parents tend to eat whatever the kids are eating and fixing. The husband wants something different. So there's a lot of pressure centered around food. That we don't even realize. And my brand and what I've been very now fine-tuning, creating a script for it now. I didn't have a script before. It was all from my heart. There's a script for it in the sense of how we approach lifestyle and food and music and bringing it together as a brand. And that's what I've been building. That's now really, COVID really pushed it to the next level this year. And I'm grateful for that.
Wow. Wow. In terms of starting your brand, when you launched, where did you get the funding from? Did you go to a lending institution, a bank, and borrow some money? Did you get investors? Did you use your own money? Talk to me
My
about
mama.
your mom. My mama.
My mama went into her 401k and gave me $10,000.
Wow.
I will never forget. I will always be grateful for that
I always
because,
love my
yeah,
mama.
mama.
Wow.
And she continued to do that, man. And she helped me pay my rent here in New York when I was short. And my mom told me something. My mom is the reason why I went to culinary school. Let me do a little mom plug because I was doing the whole audition things and things weren't going well. And I was upset after this one audition. I really wanted it really badly. And my mom said, "Baby, won't you cook?" And I asked my mom today why she said that. And she cannot tell me why she said that. So I know that was God. And I was like, I remember crying, "What do you mean cook?" She was like, "Well, won't you cook, baby? You already do the macaroni and cheese in the family." And I was like, well, that's different from going to culinary school. So she planted that seed. She really did, Jason. And I thank her for that. The next thing she taught me when things was going really tight in my catering business, I mean, Jason, for a whole year, I wasn't getting any bites. You got to remember, being a caterer is hard.
Yeah.
Being a caterer in New York City is almost impossible if you wanted to grow it to the next level.
Right.
So we could have a whole nother talk at how I grew my catering business.
Right.
But is in that sense, and I was on my way to Starbucks, and one time, and there was nothing coming in, and I was on my way to the gym, and my mom listened to me, bitch. And she was like, well, and I was like, "Mom, I don't know. I might have to come back home to DC." And she said, "Baby, let me ask you something." And it impressed on me. She said, "What? Didn't you just come out of Starbucks with a cup of coffee?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Aren't you about to go to New York Sports to go work out?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Bro, baby, you're not broke. You need a break." Score one for mama.
That's some mama shit.
She said, "You're not broke. You need a break."
Yeah, that's.
And that shifted everything about me complaining about my situation and my financial situation. Put your pen to paper and get the stuff down. That's kind of where I am with that. So yeah, mama was that first initial monies. And then of course, just some angels along the way has given me money because they believed in what I was doing through my brand. Even my time on Food Network and all of these other, Hallmark Channel and all these other shows I've been on, what has been the constant is some good folk saying, "We see what you're doing. It's needed in the community. Here's $100 here. Here's my organization here. Here's a gig here." All of that kind of sowing and reaping the benefits of my heart is what sustained me. Gotcha. You know what I mean? Yeah. Real talk.
Yeah, no. I remember we run into each other quite often in this, because sometimes years would go by and we run into each other on the street, and we would stand there and talk for an hour. So it was always, I always saw you, your passion, and your energy was just always great and fabulous. And I knew you could cook because I tasted your sauces before, and we'd always danced around us doing something together collectively.
That's 2 dances, Jason. You get one more time. Just side note. Just go ahead.
I think 2021. I think this is the beginning of that third connection that's really going to stay.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Because
you're good peoples, man. You good peoples. Now, if everybody listening to that, my Jason story. Jason has what I always look for, especially in Black men, is consistency. And Jason has been your consistency in restaurant, who you partner with, who, your talent set to go from managing, blow a little smoke, from managing to actually designing a restaurant to implementation to opening. That's a gift, man. And everybody don't have that skill set. So kudos to you. So I ain't gonna let you go, even if it's just talking every 4 or 5 years. We just talk. It's all good.
No, absolutely. I admire your work as well. So now talk to me. Let's talk COVID 2020. We're coming up here in New York City. We're really coming up on a year, and it's it's so mentally draining to keep your guard up for that long in terms of mask and washing hands and social distancing. And now the rest of the country kind of got a little later as it spread in waves. But talk to me about 2020. In the restaurant industry, from a restaurant and real estate point of view, it's a purge. You know, I'm running around, I'm getting calls every day trying to save as many restaurants as I can. In Harlem and Brooklyn and in DC and Baltimore. Mm-hmm. How has COVID impacted you positively or negatively? Actually, I've gotten a little busier, but now my rates, I can't charge, you know, my high-end Jason Wallace rate shit, right? So a lot of my work now is advocacy. Like I'm just helping people with a free consultation and say, wow, what's your burn rate? People asking, what's their burn rate? It's like, what does that mean? Like, they don't even understand, like, how fast are you burning through cash? You know what I mean? And the ability to even calculate what that is. It's like, well, I'm sitting on 60 days worth of money. I'm sitting on 90 days. So I'm at that point now where that's all I'm trying to do is help, Black restaurants, independent restaurants survive this COVID. So as a result, I've been busy. How about yourself? Has COVID impacted you negatively or positively?
I would say positively. Just to go back a little bit, last year was a very hard year for me financially.
Last year meaning 19 or 20?
19.
19, okay.
19 because at some point, to be very transparent, all of that busy energy, you can be so busy, but you're not getting anything done.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yep.
And I was doing the television things, some great gigs. I lectured just to give people reference for Wisconsin University, First Class, being called in for some auditions at Netflix. All of that busyness is going on that I was taking on as busyness and didn't keep my eye on the prize, which is the finances, in the sense of, okay, you making some momentum in a lot of ways in the sense of getting your brand reach out there.
Right.
But how are you making money? And so last year financially was a very tight year, other than my teaching, because I teach at CUNY as well, in their graduate program for urban food and development. So that's the work that I was doing in there. So again, busy. But what is the business model? So anybody listen to me? You know what I mean? I'm a creative, and I kept saying, as long as the creative part is flowing and I'm okay, I don't worry about money. God is going to bring the money. I just need to be patient and da-da-da-da. No.
Yeah.
Once you get a certain age and you've been in this for a while, you better start thinking about your money, people, and call in to Jason to make that happen.
That's exactly.
So,
I'm that guy saying, listen, are you converting these potential deals over into revenue or not? Yes or no?
See, to me, that sounds like wah, 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 wah. Let me be creative. Let me cook. Let the people love me. Let the lights come. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I was. But last year was that kind of year where I sat down and asked myself, what was the business model? Not only did I ask, but I started to be a studier, beyond the education. Think and Grow Rich really was the book that really propelled my train of thought. I come from the church world, and it's not been everybody's experience, but in our world, God would take care of you. Your gift will make room for you. So I've never really come from a strong numbers game. What about the money? So I think that's why so many Black restaurants fail, because we go in because we got a good sauce or a good fried chicken or a good idea, but you don't really put the number and the capital behind it, of course, with all the reasons, and they fail. And that can be very hurtful. So to all my restaurateurs out there, to all my caterers, my prayers are with you, because we will recover from this. But however, because of COVID, it really made me sit down and it's like, what is the business model?
Right.
And I'm telling you now, it's a hard conversation to have with yourself to really believe in what you're passionate about. Yep. So I had a conversation probably maybe around May after I gained 15 pounds after COVID. I gained about 15 pounds from March 17th is when we shut everything down. To about May 25th, which is my birthday, I gained like 15 pounds. Wow. And I was like, all right, that's enough for the pity party.
Yeah, get your shit together.
Get your shit together, Kenny. What's the business? What's the business model?
Yeah.
And I really sat down and I was like, and then my mind started going back. Oh, were you really good at catering? I mean, you're really good at catering. That came across. I said, yeah, but are you passionate about it?
Right.
Hear me out, Jason. Then I was like, oh, okay. Then I go back to food salad. That was sort of my first love. Let me da-da-da. So it was like, yeah, you can do that, and that's good. And you did your cookbooks and you did that. But are you passionate about it? No, not really. All right. And then it came back to my first thing, which was I'm really, really good on television.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so what I wrote down, I just got my notice from the IRS because it's certified now, my Happier, Healthier Life Network. I'm starting my own network.
Okay.
And because I want to create a network for all of these services in one place where you can get, because it really isn't about the food.
Right.
It's about the space you create. So my brand is going to be about the food, the lifestyle, and the sound of Black music, the sound and everything, and having all of that service in one space.
Wow.
So I'm really glad about that. That made me get solid about my, getting my C Corp together and doing the business and doing it right. And then I got the PP loan as well. So this is to all the people out there. It's important to have your paperwork in place and be legit. So when that check came, be honest, that's what I'm keeping thriving off of right now, and I'm ready for them to drop that second amount, because you know what I mean, that second go around. So I smiled at myself because I was smart enough to have my paperwork in place to put in, and that loan is what is infused with what I'm doing now, which is a TV show that I'm probably in talks with some big production companies, and I take that on March 13th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th, and got an album coming out next month.
What?
Yes, sir.
What?
With Sony. Yes, I'm not playing. Not playing, man. I did. Not to cut you off. It's just about being faithful. If I did not say that again, it's about being faithful. Once I made up my mind what the brand was, food, music, and lifestyle, and not just, and really believed in that and wrote it down on paper and set a plan, that's when the PP money came. That's when this opportunity to say, I did a show and they was like, we love what you do. Would you be interested in doing 6 episodes with us? Yes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And when I did the album, the song, I just went in the studio because for years people have been telling me to record. And I was just like, you get barred down with the weight of putting together a whole album.
Right.
And I never really had that time. With COVID now, I do. So I went in there and I said, you know what, Kenny? Commit to one song. I heard God say, commit to one song. Found some producers out in Jersey, produced the song, and then another buddy was like, we loved it, shot the video. Let me send it to Sony and let me see what they think.
Wow.
And here we are.
Wow.
Here we are. Faithfulness.
Wow. Congratulations on all of that. And you said, when's the album drop? March? So are you dropping a single or are you dropping an album?
I'm dropping a single. And so actually it was supposed to drop in January, but now that Sony's on board, they want to push it back to February because they want to put their weight behind it. Because I was just going to do my, independent artist kind of approach to it, CD Baby and all that. It was like, nah, we got you.
Yeah, they put some money behind it.
Yeah, they're going to put some money behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful thing. So that's 19 and 20 COVID. So talk to me about 2021. What else is the plan for your brand? E-brand. What is E-brand? Tell us. One, you mentioned about some books. You wrote some books, I have 2 books. So you want to tell my listeners about where they can find your book?
Yes, you can find From My Plate to Yours, Lunch Fix. It's on Amazon. And I got a smoothie book called Everyday Smoothie. And that's on my website on chefkenny.com, and you can get that. And that will be in hard copy next month too. So I'm coming back out with the hard copy of the smoothie book, coming with the taping of the show, with the album. And I really, my prayer is that I get out of my own way for 2021. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That I get out of my own way, because I believe you and all your listeners who are watching this and listening to this is that you are more powerful than you really know.
Right.
The power that you have for your next restaurant idea, concept, which I have 2. We talked about that, Jason.
Yeah.
Put that out in the atmosphere. Yeah, this is leading to a restaurant, but we talk about that later.
Yeah. Some long conversations.
Oh, that's a long conversation. Yeah, because just a little side note right here to plant this out so we have this on tape. Where do people like Kelly Price and Kenny Lattimore and the Gap Band, where do these people perform? You understand? Where do those, In Vogue and New Edition, Johnny Gill and all, where do those talented people get to perform in one space? So my goal is to create a network between Atlanta, New York, and maybe in Charlotte, to have a circuit where singers and performers can come and sing on different stages at one rate and one pay, sort of in the spirit of House of Blues.
Wow.
That's what I want to create. That's
Yeah.
what I'm going to create. So
Wow.
that's it.
We need some claps on that, Marvin. Let me get that is. Yeah, this guy. So much vision, so much talent, so much energy, so much passion. So I can understand you saying getting out of your own way.
Get out of my own way, man. Like, you know, black people, especially black people, tend to deal with this imposter syndrome in a sense of who am I? How dare I believe? Or, you know, I'm not good enough. And so on top of trying to find capital,
resources,
resources and everything to contend with that, who am I kind of thing. Like, I don't know if you've gone through that, but I certainly did. And so once you move that out of the way and see how God ushers in resources for you, once you put a step into it, it ain't gonna just come to you, people.
Right.
You got to put in the work. You have to put in the networking. You have to go to school. You have to put in the hours. But once you do, God will meet you there, and it's possible. That's all the things I try to do through 2020 and 21 and beyond. It's a universal message for everybody. You are possible.
Got you.
And really get people to believe in that. Oh, it's going to be huge, man. It's going to be huge. You heard it here.
I already know, man. You hear them gunshots. Listen, man, I already believe. I already know how you do. And, you know, like you say, you know, I am that guy. My brand itself is like, I just try to give people the truth and remove their emotions. And quite often the egos, like you said, you get in the way. Most people won't even admit they need a consultant or want a consultant. So, you know, for me, it's always like pulling teeth. I'm always arguing with architects on design in restaurants because they don't understand the functionality of space. They understand form. And somewhere form has to meet function, but the first priority is functionality.
Hold on, tweet. Wait a minute. I like that. That's Oprah say. At some point, form has to meet
functionality.
Functionality. That's good.
Because, you know, a space has to function first, right? Because there's raw materials and people. There's equipment. There's all these other things before you get to, oh, I want these curtains because they came from a Broadway play off of Les Miserables, right? And I paid, you know, $15,000 for curtains, but you only want to buy a $500 deep fryer. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yes.
I mean, like, that deep fryer is going to pay for itself in 10 months. You know what I mean? Where those curtains is just, you know, they're never going to cook a steak. They're never going to cook anything else. But, you know, I'm always trying to convince people and show them that put your money in quality assets that are going to give you a return on your investment instead of, you know, sound systems and fancy chairs and play. That stuff is important. But
bells and whistles,
but it's not the core of really how we're going to make money and build wealth from this food service game. So from a health and wellness point of view, let's talk about building wealth. And then we're going to say we'll wrap up in terms of, you know, just letting people know who you are, how do they get in touch with you? Do you still have these products? I mean, I see you out there on the internet, you know, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's my sexy black friend right there. Be killing them out there. You be doing the smooth ball head thing and all, them arms be all jacked up with the muscles and shit. I'm like, yeah, that's my man right there. So I know you got a sexy following because I'm checking you obviously. You be on the film. I see you in the videos. You be just doing your thing. And I'm like, that's my man right there. And they pan across a bunch of women over there just looking and trying to cook.
Yes.
So talk to me about, you know, where you're going with that and the economics, like, okay, where does this brand, like, intellectual properties, right? It's important for me.
Jason, yes, keep talking.
To tell, you know, entrepreneurs like you, own your own intellectual properties, right? Your name, your brand. You're talking about pots and pans. You're talking about seasons and sauces. You're talking about uniforms, you know, book deals. These are all the things that actually build wealth. Because at some point in time, you know, we're getting older and, you know, we can't do all the things that we need to do. We can't be all the places that we need to be. But that intellectual property is huge. And the ability to be able to create that business plan and execute that. So talk to me economically about how, you know, how the chef can build wealth and going forward in this health and wellness industry.
you go. As you talking, I'm hearing, ain't no stopping us now. That's what I'm hearing, like in my spirit, because I agree. Intellectual property, so the books and everything. I'm gonna give you a little flower on the wall with my conversation with the label on just last night to tell you this, and how I was trying to get them to ask them, even to have the fortitude to ask them, how do you see me? Because I'm not your typical artist, new artist coming into a thing. I'm coming, you branded me as Chef Kenny. That is the brand. All right. So Chef Kenny Monitor. So if that's the brand, how do you see me as a food and brand? Because all that's important. And I hit you with this. Bobby Flay is worth $30 million. Okay. Rachel Ray is worth $80 million. Okay. Guy Fieri is worth $25 million. Okay. I looked up Marcus Samuelsson, $5 million. That is a big difference.
Social distance gap between that money, right?
And he is.
It's disrespectful. We're laughing, but this shit is not fucking funny.
It's not funny. Now, granted, and Marcus is out there killing them with restaurants. He's in the same places as he is, doing his thing, and he's still only at $5 million. Now, I'm not going to poo-poo on $5 million. But when you got Rachel Ray making annually $60 million a year, that wasn't just her. She makes that annually through all her distributions and deals and everything. And then the big part to your word is intellectual property. And so it's important to me that I hold on to my master in the sense of this deal for the Sony. So we're going to share in the master. So that's important to me. My cookbooks, I self-produce that. You know what I mean? One more tie note. Because I've been studying a lot of, because you got to study yourself to be approved. So I've been watching a lot of the old shows of Emerald, because that's the format I'm probably going to be in for the show. And Emerald went on to sell his brand to Martha Stewart Inc. for $45 million in 2009. Okay, so that encompasses his books, his thing, everything. My point is that we as African Americans, I asked all of my friends, name me one household name Black chef, and they could not name one household name Black chef. And I asked, and then of course New Yorkers would say Marcus, but Marcus isn't a household name. He's a New York name, and maybe a few beyond in the food. My point to that is we're not even allowed in the game.
Yeah, I know.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Let me bitch a little bit. Here we go. Because what
I hear you. Go, brother. Go.
We're not even allowed in the game. Yes, we can get a segment on a show. You know, even Carla Hall's deal with Food Network. Food Network could have easily just given her a show. What it says is Carla Hall with a production deal. She'll be throughout our brand. That's not a TV show. Get that woman a TV show. She's putting in her work. So again, even Food Network has produced all those millionaires that I just mentioned before. Not one of those Black folks came out of that brand a millionaire. Big Daddy House, Down Home with the Neelys, Sonny Anderson. Is that all we got after 20 years of food? So I'm not going to play their game, bro. I'm not going to play their game. I'm not going to get game. What is it like? Oh shit! Okay, who is this dude? What I'm going to do is do this from a network, from a Tyler Perry, Byron Allen approach, which is I'm going to own my freaking content.
Absolutely.
All right. That is the content in which I'm doing deals with. You come to the table differently when you're negotiating. So for example, everybody kept saying, "Oh, you don't need to do 6 episodes of your show. Just do a treatment, or just do 1 episode with your iPhone. Just let them see." No, I'm not doing that. I'm doing 6 produced episodes on with my production team and through my company, and then that is the deal that I'm taking to TNT or anybody else who want to do content. You have to own your own content. I'm building wealth through those measures, through my cookbooks. I got some trail mix coming out. Yeah, I'm on fire now. You're not gonna get me no more. I'm good.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what
I'm good.
That's what we do here at Hidden Figures Behind the Numbers with the Restaurant Scientists. We have candid conversations for Black food service professionals by Black food service professionals, because we need to really talk about the systemic racism and, and other issues that, I believe there might even be a class action lawsuit out there. If some civil attorney wants to take that up, I don't have it on my plate that the Food Network basically systematically excluded Blacks from opportunities started in 1995, so
we've had that talk. Yes.
Yeah. This, we've talked about that. And this is not like you can have the same conversation with multiple chefs who are, over 40 that can tell you about the experiences that they had. So Chef Kitty, I mean, but you're right. I mean, we have to take ownership, and we're unapologetic about being Black, about being great chefs, great food service operators, great restaurateurs, great restaurant consultants, designers, all of those things. And the time has truly come. I'm actually going down to Georgia in a couple of weeks and meet with Chef Matthew Rayford, who's doing some farming down there. He's growing some great products. There's some other great Black farmers down there that we're gonna connect with. So the time is now, and I think that's actually the good thing about whether it's COVID or 2020, that there is an appetite now for these types of things that I was saying in 1990, basically, 95. That no one really didn't have an appetite for, but blazing that trail like you're doing and like we've been doing together for many years, we're out there alone, so that's just part of our journey. But we're built for this shit. You know what I'm saying?
We're built for this, man. We're built for this.
Yeah, the motherfuckers can't take nothing from me. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you ain't gave me shit. There ain't nothing for you to take from me, and this is bigger than me. You know what I mean? It's bigger than me. So yeah, that was drop the fucking mic type moment. Yeah, you got me going, Chef. You got me going. So
because you got to have that intellectual property, man. I wish they taught that in school, Jason.
Yeah.
They teach us to be chefs, and that's good. But this business side and what you bring to the table, and then especially that racial component. I'm two ways on racial. I don't know how much time we got, but I'm really good on the sense of acknowledging the racism in the business and understanding that. I probably at all this time, almost I've been doing it 17 years. I would be lucky to be a sous chef in a high-end restaurant by this time. Lucky. You know what I mean? If that would have done so far. And so I think with African Americans, we have this uncanny ability to transform, to elevate, and to bring something new to the market that then has to get their attention. Absolutely. For them to come to the table. Right. And I'm going to do my part.
Right. Nah, sounds good. Sounds good. So we got a few minutes to wrap up. So let's just make sure that people can get access to you. Facebook, Instagram, email, telephone. Mm-hmm. How do people get in touch with Chef Ken Miner?
You can definitely hit me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at Chef Kenny Miner of the same name. And then chefkenny.com, I have the books, connect you to what the message is about living a happier and a healthier life, because it really is about creating a space for that. So how do we do that systematically? Mm-hmm. And then I'm always, as next year comes, you're just going to be seeing me everywhere. Because I'm gonna put in the work to make sure you do, and really hopefully make my people proud, because I really think that there is a season for little boys and little girls to see somebody cooking on television that looks like them.
Absolutely. Wow. Absolutely, Chef. Thank you.
Thank you.
So as we wind down, anything else you want to put out there that we didn't touch on? Just bring us home, Chef. What do you got?
I bring you home. Create the space for the life you want. Mm-hmm. I really want people to take that in. If that's the last thing you have to say, to really that you have the power to create the space, from your finances to your business model to your restaurant, getting capital. Now, money attracts money. And so now that I have some money and got some thing in play, it's funny to me, Jason, now how many people are hitting me up. Mm-hmm. And it's saying the next thing you do, we want to give you some money. Right. It's just money follows money. Money follows energy. So yes, talk about the statistic and all of those important, so you know where you stand, but create the space for the life you want, whether that be your health, whether that be your family life, or wanting to be married, or having healthy relationships around you. Start with the food on your plate, because that is the source of your energy.
Nah, man. Wow. Okay. Well, again, I want to thank Chef Ken Miner for coming on the show. You see, I got my smoothie here, my protein shake.
You on it?
Yeah, you know how we do, brother. I want to thank Cornerstone Business Labs, Cornerstone Production, and Cornerstone Media.
You've
Yeah, man.
experienced another episode, phenomenal episode, featuring Chef Ken Miner here at Hidden Figures Behind the Numbers with the Restaurant Scientists. Until we meet again, power to the people.
Power to you.